Great. And welcome. Many of you know my name is Laura Ogando. I serve as the program manager for the Office of Digital Literacy and Inclusion. Super stoked to be here with all of you again today, learning and growing and really just leveling up, right? Like that's been our motto for a couple of years now. And I hope that folks are continuing that mindset of like always learning and growing and aiming to do even more. Want to pass it over to Lisa to also say a few words.
Thanks so much, Laura. Thank you to everyone who's joining us today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your schedules to learn something new. And also thank you so much to Wendy for sharing your knowledge with us today. And I'm excited to hear from Jesse and Nick from Adobe because they are going to share the session they're going to be doing in the future with Adobe Creative Suite. And I had the good fortune to take a session with them this week, and it's fabulous. So thank you very much. And I believe Christina is here. So if so, I'll turn it over to her.
Hey, yes, I am. I'm not sure if you could see me. I'm having some technical issues with
We see you.
the Wi-Fi. Okay, perfect. I'm on my phone. Hi, everyone. Y'all know me, Christina Basias, EdTech Implementation. Always love to be here. The best way to end a Friday. I'm going to have some announcements about some office hours coming up. But before we do, I'm going to pass it back to Laura.
Thank you. Thank you. And got to shout out Latiqua. She is always on our back end, making sure you guys get the links, making sure attendance. So thank you for always supporting us. We look like rock stars because you are amazing. And I also want to pass it over really quickly to Derry to say hello. I know she couldn't make it to our first one, but she's here now. And we're so happy that she's joining us. Hey,
Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, it is Friday. Super excited to be here, guys. I'm Derry Rodriguez. I'm from the Office of Family Community Empowerment. I am with my peoples. This is the Friday family facing team, and I'm just here to say hello. Excited that Wendy Lopez is here. She is a true part of our team, part of our family facing team, and we're just excited to hear the knowledge that she's going to bring to us to really ensure that we are having some tips and tools on how to strengthen our parent partnerships, like that homeschool partnership. So, and also, oh my gosh, the Adobe team is here, guys. I can't wait because I'm ready to level up my marketing skills and also my design skills. So welcome everyone, and welcome to Digital Fridays.
Woo! Well, this is a perfect segue because as we've been saying, the folks from Adobe are here, and hint, hint, they're actually going to be here next month doing a whole session. So this is like literally like one of those like teasers, you know, when you get to the end of an episode and they like give you like that 30-second promo for next week and you're just like on pins and needles. That's what Adobe's about to do. So Nick and Jesse, please take it away.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Derry, Lisa. Thank you all so much for inviting us here today. We are so thrilled to be with you, and we're going to do a really quick snippet, but first, just let's introduce the faces. So I'm Nick Starr, and I am your Customer Success Manager. So that means that all questions that you have around the implementation of like Adobe, even if the question is, what is Adobe? You can come to me with those types of questions. Hi, thanks for putting in the chat. Nice to meet you all. I'm also joined here by my wonderful colleague, Jesse Lubinsky. Jesse, unmute and say hi to everyone.
I'm unmuted, but yeah, so super excited to be here. I've been with Adobe for almost 8 months. I started my teaching career in the DOE. I'm a product of the New York City public school system, so I'm incredibly excited for the opportunity to get to work with DOE educators.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So just a really quick snippet, as Laura was saying, we are giving you a teaser for next month. So next month, Jesse and I will be joining you for a little bit of a longer time where we're actually going to walk through that first question that I answered, which was, what is Adobe? And then 2, what does it do and what can you do it in your role working as a parent coordinator with parents, with families, with guardians, and with your school community? So I'm not able to share my screen, but that's okay. But I am going to drop some links into the chat, just as like discover, make take a little walk around the block, so to speak. So in the chat, what I'm sharing with you right now is what are all the Adobe tools that you have access right now for free? I'm going to say that again. In the chat, I just dropped a link into all of the Adobe tools that you have right now for free. Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing this. Yes. You have all of this. And so the next chat that I'm going to just drop in with you is, how do you have access to this? And so in the chat is a little lovely one pager where it's just going to, oh, and there's a typo, sorry. I am a former special education teacher, elementary, and I used to teach phonics. So yes, I do know how to spell, but that was a little missing S there. So thank you, Laura, right there. This is also a lovely one pager, and you can walk through how to log in. You can walk through how to help families log in, whatever it is. This is kind of your portal there. Jesse, I'm going to pass it over to you just to give them a tease of what we're going to talk about next month, and then we'll close out.
So really quickly, there are so many applications within Adobe Creative Cloud. It can be very overwhelming. What we're going to do next month is we're actually going to do a walkthrough all together of one of our entry-level tools, Adobe Express, which is our kind of gateway tool to creativity that highlights graphics, videos, and web pages. So we're gonna actually do activities in creating all three of those together, and that will give you like a nice kind of entry point into what you'll be able to do with these tools. But one thing I just love to highlight is all of those tools you see on that list are not only available if you have a DOE machine, but they're available on your personal machine as well using your DOE credentials. So all of those things which would normally cost you hundreds upon hundreds of dollars if you were to do this yourself are available not just to you, but all DOE educators, students, personnel. If you have a DOE account, you have access to these credentials or to all of this, to the software.
Yeah. So come next November, we're going to walk through, as Jesse said, a little sneak peek, and you're going to walk away with something that you can do right away, which is how you're communicating with families in your school. So like a newsletter or a postcard or a one pager, whatever that is, we're going to deep dive into that. Thank you so much, Laura and Lisa and Derry, for inviting us. And we'll see y'all next month.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jesse. I'm telling you, folks, this is going to be amazing next month. So I have in a few slides, when to mark your calendars, but you're definitely not going to want to miss this. Again, this is an enterprise level software. That means that everyone has access. I've been checking the chat and some folks are like, I don't have access. Don't worry, you actually do. And we are going to show you exactly next month. If you're savvy and you have time and you can play on your own, you can see. But I promise you that is part of what we'll make sure everyone walks away with next month. So thank you, Adobe. I'm going to pass it over to Christina to share about those office hours, which look slightly different for this school year.
Thanks so much, Laura. So as you know, and just a reminder, if you don't, we shifted our office hours. That instead of having our Coffee to Your Tech Talks that happen on Tuesday, we actually have weekly office hours that are hosted by our DIIT colleagues that are happening weekly on Wednesdays from 11 to 12 p.m. And then occasionally, some of these office hours are going to be themed with certain topics. So the next office hour we have coming up, which is next week on the 26th of October, special edition is Mac OS Monterey provisioning. So maybe that's relevant to you. Maybe it's not. Maybe you want to learn about it. Definitely encourage you to sign up. Please visit the EdTech portal. You could easily get there by typing into your browser diit.nyc/edtech portal. And do check out the portal otherwise, not even just for office hours. There's a ton of PD on there. There's going to be more offerings. We'll keep you updated as we go through the school year on this, but definitely go to the portal, sign up. That is where you would have to go to sign up for these weekly office hours. So again, next one happening on Wednesday. These are happening every Wednesday, folks. So there's a lot of support that you could receive. So we'll always remind you during our Friday sessions. But yes, visit the portal to sign up and we'll see you there on the 26th. Passing it back to Laura.
Thank you, thank you. And I believe we have several folks that participate in office hours. At least I saw Francisco on here, who's one of our BTDs over out in Queens. So, you know, we all are about just helping each other out and giving you the support you need. So hopefully you guys feel really supported. That's what our teams aim to do. And with that, want to share another level of support that many of us are also collaborating on, and that is our Beyond Access Forum happening on November 8th. This is PD for anyone and everyone. So it's going to be a fabulous time. We'll drop the registration link in the chat in just a moment. But this is going to be one of the largest cross-divisional PD opportunities. We put this on every election day. We also do it in June on Chancellor's Conference Day. And we have some really great partners, including Wendy. She's gonna be there. She's gonna have an awesome session, as are many of our other partners. So it's a great day of learning. Please share this out with your staff. You know, I know that, you know, some schools do their own PD, that's great. But if your school is looking for an option, high quality, lots of different sessions, then this is the way to go. We've got sessions from the Office of Specialized Instruction. CS for All is joining us. Library services. I'm going to leave people out because it's just that big, but I'm telling you, we have pretty much something for every single person at the school level. We know that, you know, this is a PD day for everyone. So we want to provide a little something for every population out there. So that link is in the chat. It's going to be an amazing day of learning. Oh, and did I mention CTLE? I should have led with that. Duh. All right. There's CTLE. I promise it's going to be amazing. And Peter H. Reynolds is our keynote. For those elementary educators out there, I know you know Peter H. Reynolds, Ish, The Dot. I used to love those books as read alouds with my kids. So it's going to be fabulous. All right. Have I hyped it enough? All right, so now that we've gone through some of our announcements, want to do a quick poll. You know how we are. We're nosy. We want to know who is in this Zoom room. So 1 second here while I launch a poll. And if it's your first time, pop it into the chat. Let us know you're new here. We love to welcome new members into this community. Hopefully we haven't scared you away. Hopefully you're like, oh, this is a vibe, and not like, oh, these crazy folks.
Laura, actually, we have a special guest all the way from California. So Miss Price, if you're here, just give us a hi. Yeah, there she is. She populated a hello.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome,
Go to
welcome,
Dairy.
welcome.
I got to experience the awesome Dairy during a conference last week, and she shared about this. I was like, I want to be a part of it. So thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome, welcome. So guys, she's mentioning how I actually highlighted this work and also all the work that you guys are doing in your districts, in your schools, meeting those digital gap, and also making sure that our families are able to communicate with us with technology. So shout out to everyone that's here.
Beautiful. And I see some other first-time folks. I didn't realize, but our own BTD, Francisco, this is his first Friday meeting. So
Wow.
welcome. Woo! Yeah, we're so excited.
Yeah.
I see several of my DIIT colleagues in the house. Hey, Zach, how you doing? I feel like many folks know Mr. Dane over here.
Oh, Laura, we have Mrs. Harvey is in here from PS 131. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm going to end this poll. I will actually share the results with you. We're overwhelmingly parent coordinators, of course, to be expected, but I want to welcome everyone that's here, our family support coordinators, family leadership coordinators. I see we have a couple secretaries on the call, even a teacher, and anyone else who's here and is joining and making the time to learn and grow. Thank you. You know, we know that it's often hard to make time to grow when you've got all these things on your plate, but it's how we keep doing this work, right? So absolutely. All right. And now one more poll. Always got to find out, how are we feeling today, and a bit of transparent facilitation for folks who are new and you're like, wait, why are you asking me this? One way to really draw your audience in is to connect with them. How are you feeling? Do a check-in, right? It is Friday. For some folks, Fridays are stressful. It's the end of a long week. Maybe you've had things that have been piling up. It's a lot. It's important to kind of check in, right? I was recently at a conference myself last week, and one of the keynote speakers said something that really hit me about, like, we say we do a lot of things, but do we really do it? And I think currently in the DOE, we keep talking about SEL. We say it like, oh yeah, it's nice, but do we really do it? Do we check in with each other? Do we ask our colleagues, how are you feeling? Right? It's important. So we got to practice what we preach. We have to really mean the work that we do. So it's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel angry. All feelings are valid, but let's also just make the time to check in. I think that's really the important part of this. So scroll down. Remember, we have all the feelings listed, and then maybe you're all of them. You're just a jumble of feelings, and maybe none of these capture it. Feel free to respond to this poll.
And it looks like a lot of us,
Chat.
it looks like a lot of us are tired and we're happy.
Oh, tell me about it.
I think it's because of you, Laura. I think MJ really got us excited, and then we were dancing, and then we got tired.
I'll share with you this, because I get the feeling, there might be some folks in the same boat. I was really bummed the past couple of nights. I am a diehard Yankee fan. I am hurting so hard, and I hate the Astros so much. I don't even like to use that word because it's so strong, but they are some cheating, whats. And so, like, there is just so much on the line right now. And I've been really upset, but I woke up this morning, I was like, I got face Friday, and it just turned my whole mood around. So hopefully, if you're in the same boat, if you're a diehard Yankee fan, you're feeling really bummed out, hopefully this is giving you a little life this morning, because it's a struggle. And the Astros, I mean, they're a good team. I hate even saying that, but there's a reason why they're tough. And yeah, anyway, I'm not going to talk more about this. I'm gonna get myself all worked up again. Yeah, the other New York teams are doing real good. Can we talk about my Giants for like 2 seconds? Yeah, Brian Daboll is the man. All right, enough sports. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get us so sidetracked. Let me share this with you. We're a mix of tired and happy and some other stuff thrown in between. Again, to be expected. Hopefully you use this weekend to rest up, to recharge those batteries. Hopefully our sports teams will win again. Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping this rest day does as well. And then really briefly, as we have said before, November 18th, that is Adobe. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you tag a buddy, let them know Adobe is in the house, and they are going to share everything you need to know, not just how to access, but also how you can use this. It's really, really amazing. It's going to up your game so much. We talked a lot about like creating newsletters and staying connected with families. Adobe is the way to make it look really, really nice.
Laura, just want to plug in for the FLCs who are in the house. Also invite your AAs, your CEC AAs, because this is a time where we're gonna learn how to use flyers. And also PA parent coordinators, think about how you can also train your executive board, your PTA executive boards, to create amazing flyers and communication. So just have to plug that in, because Adobe is going to be awesome November 18th.
Absolutely. Like share that link far and wide. Like, I kind of want to see it like on a bathroom wall type of situation. Like, people are going to want to come to this. All right. And this December 20th, Microsoft Tools for Accessibility and Language Access. We know that this is such a big need in our schools. So they're going to show us how to use their technology to make sure that we are reaching that widest possible audience. So that's another great session. But without further ado, it is time for us to learn. I'm so excited because Wendy has an amazing session all to get us ready and gear up for parent-teacher conferences, which we know start in November. But again, on a much bigger level, how to make the most of that partnership with families. So enough of me. I'm going to stop sharing. Wendy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Laura. Before I share my screen, I just really want to say thank you to Derry, to Laura, to the whole team. I love the energy in this room. I think Some of you may be familiar with me from past Fridays. I am super excited to be with you. This is such an important year, and you all play such a critical role. And give me a second as I'm bringing up my screen here. Laura, will you give me a thumbs up if you can see?
Looks great.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you all are just doing such important work, such trusted messengers, as I know we've talked about in our past sessions together. My name is Wendy. I lead our content and partnership work at Learning Heroes. For those of you who don't know us, we're a nonprofit organization that really believes parents are the experts of their children. And our mission is pretty simple. It's to support them and bring parents and teachers together to help maximize both roles so that our children can learn and be happy and have a successful lives. It's about student learning and well-being. And so what I would love to do is just sort of kick off. Loved that intro question, Laura, about how we're feeling. So important to check in. So I want to build on that. I want to know, how are you all feeling about your role with family engagement this year? Not last year, not the past couple of years. We're about a month in. How are you feeling? And I throw out these words because this is what we asked in our national poll this year in 2022. So I think I was with most of you probably at the end of last year. This is new data that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and some updated resources. And we asked this question to parents, teachers, and principals nationally. Which of the following terms best represents how you feel when describing your goal for family engagement? So I'm going to share what folks said nationally in a little bit, but I would love to just get us in the chat box. What resonates for you? Collaboration, partnership, trust, teamwork, strong relationship, strong school community, or other. If you have another word that you want to throw out there and how you're feeling, really want to hear your thoughts. And so it's going to be, want to look in the chat box, partnership, collaboration, just give folks a chance to get in there and just really reflect on how you're feeling. Patience, I love that. Collaboration and teamwork, trust, collaboration, teamwork. I love that. Well, seeing a lot of teamworks. I'm excited to share with you the results of the national poll. Diversity, trust, all of the above. Absolutely. All right.
Together family, it's the time I take to take my mother wherever she wants to go. She wants to go grocery shopping, whatever.
Oh, okay. If folks could just mute. All right. So with the time that we have together, I am hoping to, again, share some new insights from our national research. We're going to explore together a new Ready to Team Up landing page that we customized for New York. And then we're gonna explore some of those. And my favorite part in all of these kinds of meetings is getting the chance for you all to talk, to connect, to plan a bit on how you might be able to use these resources and even other ideas. I saw earlier in the chat, somebody had the question around supporting parents to create podcasts. I love that idea. I'm gonna bring that back to my team, but yeah, just an opportunity to really think together. Particularly around this time of year, as Laura said, we're going to be focusing really on how we can support parents to both plan for parent-teacher conferences and follow up afterwards. And Laura, if I could I do have the chat box up, but if I miss anything, I really want to make this a conversation. So Laura and Derry, if you could just help me, just stop me if I'm missing anything in the chat. All right, so just a bit on our research, because folks always ask. We do really rigorous third-party research. It is nationally representative. So this latest poll in 2022 is over 1,400 parents and guardians. We always oversample with Black and Latino families and low-income families, because we really want to better understand how we can continue to support with a real emphasis on those most traditionally marginalized by the system. We also include teachers and principals, because again, we are all about bringing together those roles to maximize learning. And by the way, I'm just going to share a couple of slides, hopefully not going to bombard you with data, but our full reports are on our website for folks that might want to dig in. So I always like to start with this slide for a very specific reason. This won't be a surprise to you, but despite the past couple of years, despite, some of the headlines around thoughts around, higher ed, college continues to be an aspiration for most parents. They say that it is absolutely essential or really important for their child to get a 2 to 4 year degree. Why I like to show this slide is because you'll see down here, again, we segment out the data. Overall, 77% of parents say this, but if you look down here, it is significantly higher, as much as 10 points for Black and Latino parents. We, as families of color, really prioritize education. I know that was the case for my family as a first generation Colombian. It was all about that. My parents worked 2 and 3 jobs to make sure we had a decent education. And so for us as parent educators and as parent coordinators, it's so important to continue to sometimes dispel the myth that those parents, right, don't care or won't show up. They absolutely will show up. They do care. It's about bringing in their voice and making sure that we're communicating in ways that are relevant and that are actionable for them. All right, so we're going to do a quick poll. Some of you might know some of our data. This is, again, recent data. We do it annually. So want to just sort of set this as a context. What percentage, thinking about your families that you serve, what percentage do you think believe their child is at or above grade level in math and reading this year? This was this year. So think about learning loss, think about, what you're hearing and seeing from families. What percentage of parents believe their child is at or above grade level? Give it a second. All right.
Good morning.
Thanks, folks, for voting. All right, we're at about 50%, just a couple more seconds. Again, you could be thinking about yourself as a parent, the families that you serve over the past couple of years. We have some new NAEP data coming out. How do we think parents are feeling about their children and grade level? All right, see, folks are still in there. Laura, I'll let you let me know when we think we'll close it. We're at about 61%. So far, most of us are saying 65% believe their child is at or above grade level. Close tie with 39%. Okay.
I can end it. Do you want me to share the results?
Yes, if you could. All right, so the majority of us say 65% of parents believe their child is at or above grade level in reading and math. What we continue to track nationally year over year, this data is from this past May, again, after the past couple of years of the pandemic, 9 in 10 families, 92% of our families, regardless of race, income, or education, believe their child is at or above grade level in reading and math. You just take that in for a second. I know most of us would around 60%, 92% of us think our child is okay, right? That they're on track. When in reality, and this is, unacceptable and really disheartening, but it's closer to a third of our students who are at grade level. And for many of our Black and brown students, it's even lower. We have new NAEP data coming out next week on Monday. So we're all bracing ourselves there. And what's interesting to note is that this year, this number went up a bit. Only 59% of teachers said that their students are arriving prepared for grade level work. So, that's still pretty high. But for us, we have been leaning into this disconnect, and we're gonna come full circle on your role, right? Because you guys play such an important, have such an opportunity to connect those dots for families. We have been digging into this. Again, this is all new data. What we have found is that why do parents think that everything is okay? It's because they're reporting that their children are getting Bs or better, 84%. And breaking it down even further, they believe that these report cards are an accurate reflection, right? They really are relying on those report card rates. So you see this breaks down by age. I know many of you work with high schoolers. Ernesto asks, were the numbers the same pre-COVID? Yes, we have been tracking this since 2016. And the numbers have more or less fluctuated between 88% to 92%. So they have consistently been 9 and 10. And we have been digging into this disconnect for the past several years. But to be quite honest, we were really surprised that this year, just, even with the learning loss, even with a lot of data coming out, parents observing their children, we're really surprised to see that that number has remained so high. And what we're seeing is that a lot of it still has to do with the over-reliance of grades. We think it's solvable. This for us, this to me, is just, I know there's a lot on here, but if we could just take it in for a second. So we asked parents and teachers to rank the most important ways that they know how their child is achieving. You will see on the left, the number one way that teachers know how students are performing or achieving is their classroom observations. That's number one. For teachers, you'll see report card grades don't even make the top 5. It is all the way down here at number 6, report card grades, because teachers know that report card grades equate effort, equate a lot of things that don't have anything to do with grade level mastery. And that's just the truth. In fact, teachers say in focus groups that parents rely too much on grades alone. You'll see on the right-hand side, for parents, the number one indicator is report card grades. So this, again, just speaks to the opportunity for you as coordinators to make sure that parents have access to those different measures, for them to know to be in touch with their child's teacher regularly. If they don't hear back, can you make those point of connections? Encouraging families to trust their gut. One really concrete thing that I always like to share with families, and I take this to heart as a parent, just this week, I sent a note back to my daughter's teacher because she really struggled with her math assignment. And I was like, it would be helpful if you could just have a one-on-one with her on this concept, because homework is meant to be a review of what's taught in class, right? So we really need to support parents in knowing that there are these different measures. In this year's this year's survey, we asked an additional question. So we did what's called a split sample, and we showed parents 3 different measures. We said to them, well, what if your child was getting a B in math, but their state test results indicated they were below grade level, and their child's results on their benchmark test, which is those beginning of year tests like MAP growth, like MClass, indicated that they were below grade level. That 92% dropped down to 44%. And in addition to that, parents said that if they had this information, that they would take action, that they would talk to their child, that they would ask their teacher about co-creating a plan. And so for us, again, this just really speaks to that opportunity to connect those dots. And that is what the resources I'm going to show you today are all about, right? Really making sure that parents and teachers come together around a shared understanding, and that parents have the information they need to tap, all the great resources that New York offers, whether it's community-based organizations or tutoring. Parents won't know to advocate if they don't know it's a problem, if that makes sense, right? Like if they think everything's okay, they're not going to be the best advocates for their children, as we know that they want to and can be. So I'm going to round it back. That poll that we took earlier, it was really exciting to see so many of you say trust and teamwork, because in fact, nationally, you'll see for teachers, principals, and parents, teamwork and trust are what rise to the top. Trust and teamwork, even more than words that we use a lot in family engagement, like partnership. You see here, those numbers were much lower, and collaboration lower than that of teamwork. When we did focus groups to sort of unpack why, and even in our just sort of conversations with folks that we're working with, I loved hearing the explanations. Parents said things like, because teamwork is a give and take. right? You really are giving and taking, and parents have so much to offer. And so that's why we want to build that muscle for parents to know what they can share and what they can ask, to really ensure and maximize that classroom learning. And on the flip side of that, for us to be messengers to communicate to teachers, parents have so much to offer, right? They know their child best. So that's a bit of the context. So with that, I see some folks, I think Laura did share the slide. Again, that is just a snapshot. There's much more in our full report, but for the sake of time, I want to make sure that we dig into the resources. So basically what we do at Learning Heroes is we try and make this research really actionable. And so this year we have updated the back to school campaign. It's called Ready to Team Up. You'll see we included Team Up because that's what resonates for parents and teachers. This is our main little meme that we put out on social media. This is something that you can include in your newsletters or in communicating with families. And it's really simple, right? It's about knowing if your child is on grade level, really asking what are those concrete skills. You'll see the dad here asking about that, and how you can support at home. The campaign, and I'm going to drop the link. If you guys want to take a look as I'm going in real time, I'm going to pull it up on my slide. But whenever we do these campaigns, there is a one-pager in English and in Spanish. And I know, I think Derry has also had them, has had it translated for the 7 languages that New York shares information in. These one-pagers can be printed for community events, for backpacks. It's a great time of year to be supporting parents with preparing for back to school conferences. And basically what we try to do is what we call give parents snackable bits of information. So you'll see these are 5 short, I don't really love the word tips. It's really messages. It's really sort of call to actions, if you will. And then we go deeper for each of these tips with some of the resources that we're going to get to dig into today. So the first one is really conveying to parents that their voice is needed. And I know I love working with you all because I know Derry and Laura and all of you are such champions of really raising parent voice, right? We really want to make that front and center for parents to ask questions, to lean into sharing what they know, to communicate with teachers. What's the best way to reach them? If they're not in front of the computer checking email, let them know that. Let them know you need a text or you need a phone call. The second is really about getting a gut check on progress. Again, really leaning into how your child is progressing. And we have some resources that I'm going to show you for each of these. The third is really conveying to parents, what are some of the concrete questions that you can ask in order to team up on a simple plan? And that's what we're going to focus on today as we lean into parent-teacher conferences. The fourth is really the social and emotional piece. We know that parents care about academics, but first and foremost for them, they want their children to be happy. And especially over the past couple of years, we want to continue to provide those social and emotional supports and resources. And we have several of those on our site. And I know there's so many in the community that the communities that you're working in. And then finally, Laura, you opened up talking about self-care, really being there for our parents and reminding them that they are a learning hero, right? Like what they have is enough. What they are doing is enough. And it's important for them to take care of themselves, to find a community of other parents so that they can continue to be the best advocates for their children. So we're going to dig into the website that I just dropped in the chat. Some of you may be looking at it in real time. A couple of the resources that I really wanted to highlight with a real emphasis on parent-teacher conferences this was a new one that we created this past year. It's called the Dear Teacher Letter. And basically you enter the information on the left hand and it populates on the right hand. And it's all about introducing your child and your family to the teacher, and going a little bit beyond sort of the very typical, what are your interests, or, I've heard, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, and sort of those more personal things, which are fun and important, but really also going into, like, you'll see down here, what are your goals for your child this year. That is really important, right? For me, I know it is really an emphasis on making sure my daughter is getting the support she needs to stay on track and on grade level in math, because she has to work really hard at it. So I want to be in tight communication with my child's teacher around that. You know, sharing some of, you know, your child's favorite activities or hobbies or interests. We've heard that a lot of, like I said, a lot of schools do this, but not all do. And sometimes they're really at a surface level. So this is a great tool that you can share in a newsletter with your parents. Again, this is something that you could fill out and send to the child's teacher before parent-teacher conferences. The next one is called the readiness check. And this we created a couple of years ago when we first discovered that disconnect, that 9 and 10 parents believing their child is at grade level. We wanted to just make sure that there were other ways, fast, fun ways that parents can get a quick gut check. So we partnered with leading experts in math and reading to create this. You can use it, parents can use it on their mobile phone, on their desktop, and basically the child answers 3 to 5 questions in math and reading. And the parent gets to see how they are progressing with end of year skills that are important for them to learn new skills this year. So my daughter's in 3rd grade. A parent would do 2nd grade right now, just to see how did she learn. And especially this year, after all of the disruption in learning, having a sense of how they have learned last year's grade level skills is really important. What's most, I think, innovative is that at the end of the tool, you see how your child has done with these end of year skills, and then it connects you to really highly curated resources, videos, activities to match each of those, again, 3 to 5 skills that leading experts have really identified as critical for success this year. So that's the readiness check. And then finally, a tool that I would love for us to just dig into as we're exploring the site, again, the link is in the chat, is the parent-teacher planning tool. This is, and I'm going to actually, from here, I'm going to go into the site myself. Again, just want to make sure you all have this in the chat. This is, I'm going to drop it back in there. This is your New York landing page. You can send this out in newsletters. The one pager, as Laura just noted, is right here. You can download the one pager and print it or attach it in a newsletter along with the link to this. All of the messaging is here for you. Each of the resources that I just mentioned are hyperlinked here.
Wendy?
Yes?
Is your screen supposed to be sharing the website? Because we still just see
Yes.
the presentation.
Oh, no. Well, that's not good. Give me a second, please. Yes. Now?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, apologies. That's strange because I was sharing my full desktop. Okay, Laura, the link is in the chat, I think. But if folks want to just pull that up and want to just allow us enough time to take a look, scroll, play with it. Before you do that, I should say, I just wanted to highlight how it works. So basically the messages are here. The one pager, you'll see the meme at the top. Sorry, I should have started because I thought you were seeing my screen the whole time. The meme that I shared is at the top here. This is the readiness check link that I just mentioned. You would click on here. If you wanted to download the tips and print them or attach it in a newsletter, they are here. And then it goes into those 5 messages with the resource to support each of them. So the Dear Teacher letter is here, the readiness check, the parent-teacher planning tool, which I'm going to click on in a moment. There are some really helpful videos from WNET, who is a great partner of ours. I know you all have had some sessions with them as well. We've partnered with them on some great Parenting Minute videos that highlight New York City parents and how they support their children's social and emotional well-being at home in sort of everyday ways. Again, some partner resources as well around starting the new school year. So if folks want to take a moment, I also want to really encourage you to scroll all the way to the down to the bottom of this if you have a moment. You can subscribe right here with your email. We won't spam you, I promise. But we do try to send monthly newsletters that you can then use for your families. So often we'll include not just our resources, but a big part of what we do at Learning Heroes is partner with other great aligned organizations who are providing great content and easy to use resources. So really encourage you to scroll all the way to the bottom of that page and sign up for this newsletter. Again, that's the way that you can just get more content. I know you guys do a lot of newsletters and kind of digital communication with your families. That's a great way to have some ready-made content, if you will. So that's at the bottom of the page. Want to, for the sake of parent-teacher conferences, again, this is such an important time. I'm going to click on here. This is our parent-teacher planning tool. And this is 3 steps. This is something that you can, again, if you share the full page with your parents, if you wanted to just send them this link and talk it through with them. What we want to do is really encourage parents to feel so that they have voice in helping to guide the agenda. And with only 7 to 10 minutes, I believe New York City is doing virtual ones this year. That's even more important. This is meant to help parents prepare for those conferences and have something to follow up afterwards. So you'll see that it begins, it's 3 simple steps. First, help the teacher connect with your child. So encouraging families to think before the conferences, think about what your child is doing well with, where your child needs more support, where your child shines, right? Like parents should be sharing what they know about their child so that that teacher can best connect with their child. I know, for example, one thing that I already sent, my conferences are coming up soon in New Jersey. I shared with my child's teacher, my 3rd grader, that she can sometimes be shy because she doesn't want to disappoint, and particularly with math. So I let my teacher know, she won't always raise her hand. She sometimes does need that sort of one-on-one nudge, like, do you need clarification, or how are you feeling with the instructions, right? And it comes from a place of not wanting to disappoint. So those are the kinds of like nuggets, I call them, that we want to encourage families to think about and share. So that's the first thing. And these are just some ideas, right? They might have others. We put this on here because we know parents and students have gone through so much the past couple of years, but important changes, for example, that I've noticed in my child, and this might be around the social emotional piece. Really want to make sure that parents are thinking about this. The nice thing about this tool is that parents can take some notes. So for example, she needs to be encouraged. Sorry. To ask for help in math. I'm just going to do that really quickly. But parents can take a bunch of notes here, and then you can either email it to you and the teacher or print it at the bottom, as we'll see in a moment, okay? The second one is encouraging parents to really ask specific questions around academic progress. Again, leaning into that big disconnect that we're seeing, we want to encourage families to ask things concretely. Like, for example, we know that math can be a real stressor with what we've seen for many parents. So, asking what are the key math skills, and it doesn't have to be the whole curriculum, right? Maybe focusing in on like, what are the 1 to 3 skills my child is expected to learn this year? And can you show me an example of what that looks like? We want parents to know that if teachers are talking at a level that is sort of just very education jargon, it's okay to ask, can you show me an example of a question? Can you show me what that looks like? While we might see some of that with homework, parent-teacher conferences is an opportunity to really ask. And this is what we hear across the country from parents. I want to know what it looks like. I want to have a better understanding of those expectations. And then finally, especially over the past couple of years, we want parents to feel like they can find out, how schools are going to sort of make up for, how will they know what their child needs, especially given the disruption in learning over the past couple of years. And nationally, we are seeing that, parents and teachers, we don't want to hear about learning loss, right? These are our babies. We totally get that, but it is important to promote more candid and honest conversations about what it's going to take on both sides, working together to make sure our kids are supported on and encouraged to meet those grade level expectations and be working with grade level content. So again, you can type your notes here or additional questions. And then finally, the third step is, based on what parents shared with step one, based on what you found out about academic progress, how can we team up on a plan, right? So asking specific questions like, how can I support those math and reading skills? What resources do you recommend? And this is where I think parent coordinators, you can be such an important connector of dots, because there are so many good resources in New York. And what we're hearing from parents often is sometimes it's a matter of just not knowing about them, right? And not knowing the kinds of resources that your child needs. Sharing with teachers what you're noticing, what parents are noticing in terms of what keeps their child motivated. These are some of the things that parents and teachers can be, really talking about to team up on a plan. What I really want to emphasize with this tool and why I think, I realize it might seem like a long scroll, but it's really 3 simple steps. There's lots of ways that you can introduce this. Again, a newsletter, if you're doing any workshops, and I did provide the deck to Laura. There's, whatever you need, we can support you with a shorter deck that just focuses on this. I personally think that the best way to introduce this to parents is just literally to share with them the link and go through it, right? Like give them some time to fill it out. Why I think this last section on teaming up a plan and writing in your notes is particularly important is because often we don't have enough time during conferences, right? That's just the reality. We just do not have enough time. So encouraging families to know if you did not have enough time to really solidify a plan. That's why we put this here front and center as the last question. When and how can we touch base? It is important for parents to know they can follow up, right? Like parent-teacher conferences should not be the last time you hear from your child's teacher. We can be proactive in asking for, I know I am, right? Like my parent-teacher conferences are on November 2nd, I believe. I'm going to ask for a touch base with my child's teacher before winter break. I want a month in, I want to touch base on how she's doing, particularly in math, right? So I like to think about parent-teacher conferences is let's arm parents with what they can think about before, what they can ask during the conference, and what they can follow up on afterwards, so that it's no longer just a moment in time, 7 minutes, that didn't really give us the information that we need. Scrolling down here, you can print the plan or you can email it, right? So I didn't type in that much, but you'll see here, she needs to be encouraged to ask for help. You could then print this or download it and save it to your computer or your phone. Our site is mobile friendly. So I want to pause there. Want to take any quick questions, and then I'm really hoping that we can still have some time to jump into some breakouts, to just roll up our sleeves a bit with it, like go through the site, think about how can this support your work, how might you use it with your families. Some ways that folks have used it in the past is sending out the link via newsletters, during workshops, again, that printed flyer. But really want to make sure that you all have the space and the time to share with each other. So any questions though, before we do that? And are you seeing my PowerPoint?
You just took it off your screen, but you were sharing it.
Ah, okay, that's weird. Okay, sorry. Any questions though?
There isn't a question, but I love the comment from Maria. She said, wow, I really like this information. Oop, I lost the comment. Wow, I really like this information. This would give parents what they need when they click on the Zoom parent conferences.
Yeah, if I could just chime in too,
Mhm.
I think what families don't realize is that teachers probably, at least when I was, teachers put in a lot of preparation for that conference,
Mhm.
and it's not always reciprocated from the family or parent and because they don't know. And I think this
Yeah.
is where our parent coordinators can really provide a little bit of that support beforehand, right? Like however you best communicate with your families, let them know like, hey, you need to prepare for this too. Have
Yeah.
those questions on the ready, have those things you absolutely want to share, because as you noted in your presentation, this is teamwork, right?
Yeah.
And I think now more than ever, we can't just let teachers dictate the conversation. We have to understand that we're both coming to this and we see kids in different lenses. I used to see that a lot. And I used to tell parents, I'm like, you see a different version of your kid. You're not doing school with your kid at home. So we have to take your knowledge about your kid and what they do at home, my knowledge here at the school level, and let's figure this out because it is us putting our brains together, so I really love this, and I hope that PCs can share this out so that families can make the most of this time. I think it's really putting it on both parties to come to the table prepared.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. This, especially this year, and unfortunately, I just want to really double click. I think I mentioned this really quickly, but for us, and this has become my very personal mission as a parent. Again, I have a third grader and a kindergartner. It was my first year in our public school last year. Nationally, we hear from parents and teachers that parent-teacher conference is of low value for both of them, right? Like, and I was a second grade teacher in the South Bronx. I should have mentioned that earlier on if I didn't. And I remember that, like you're nervous, you're planning for, your 20 plus kids. It's a short amount of time. Parents are running in from work. But if we just encourage parents to really take a minute to prepare for it and know that they can help guide the agenda. If it's one thing you take away from this, for me, that's just the message, right? Parents can help dictate that agenda and make sure that they get the information they need, and that they have the right to also follow up. So, although I think we do still have a couple minutes, does it work for us to jump into some small groups for even like 5 minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's what
Um,
we're going to do, and hopefully the technology will work for us. I'm going to put the Jamboard in the chat before folks can, before you go in there though. Here's what we're going to do. It's a perfect size group. We're going to break up into 8 groups. Depending on the group that you're in, you're going to go into the tab that you see at the top. And I'm going to, give me a second. I'm going to open it in the actual. Can you all see the Jamboard?
yes.
Okay. So there's 8 groups up here. If you're in group 1, you'd stay here. If you're in group, a bunch of you in here. All right, you guys are experts. Derry and Laura have you well dreams. So if you're in group 3, you'd pop over to number 3. And the sticky notes, and I always have to remind myself where they are too. The sticky notes are right here. So you click on it, you type your idea, let's just say sharing via newsletters, and then you save and it appears. And then you keep going. And if you want to have a conversation, maybe share your ideas and then have a couple of minutes to share. But basically, this is a time for you all to plan. And the question is, how can you use these resources to support your family outreach? And then also, what are other ideas, reflections that you have? Did this data spark an idea? Again, I love that idea about the podcast in the chat. This isn't just about Learning Heroes resources, but like what you can do, again, to help connect those dots and make sure parents have the information about their children's progress that they need in order to best advocate for their kids. That's what this is ultimately about teaming up. With that, the Jamboard is in the chat. I see folks are in there. Let's be in the chat, I think, Laura, because we end at 11:15, maybe for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back out and close up.
Sounds good. So I'm going to open up the rooms,
Okay.
and folks can hop on in and chat up with their friends in the room.
How do you go on it on the room? How do you go on?
You should have seen, because I just opened up the room, so you should have seen oh wait, no, hold on. I thought I pressed open.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
The and
Thank
the
you.
Jamboard link is in the chat. Before you go into your break rooms, just click on the Jamboard and then you can go into the tab depending on your group.
So folks for real should have seen something on their screen pop up. For some folks, you might see it might not pop up. You might have to go down to your panel and click where it says breakout room, and then you'll see something that typically says join. If you're still having trouble, you can just say, hey, help me, and I can manually put you in a room. All right, I see. Laura, am I still with you? Seeing some folks starting to populate. I've been talking and I was on mute. Dear Lord, this is just a Friday. I've been saying no need for apologies. I'm noticing in the chat some folks saying sorry you had phone calls, emergencies. It's okay. You're at the school level. Things are happening. Take care of you, right? That's what's most important. So I'm just excited that these resources exist. These resources are fabulous. I kind of wish I had these when I was in the classroom having parent-teacher conferences, because again, I think it puts the responsibility on both entities. Whereas for most of my career, I felt like parent-teacher conference was really driven by the teacher, but it's a parent-teacher conference, right? Or a family-teacher conference. Like it should be both sides coming together. So I love that these resources exist and that it gets families thinking about like, what are the things I want to share, right? Because it is a two-way street and we have to work together as a team, right? So I'm going to go ahead and close the rooms, which adds another 60 seconds, I think. So people will still get a minute, but as folks come back in, hopefully you had some really fruitful discussions and shares with each other. I know it's never enough time in the breakout. Someone's going to say it. They're going to be like, what? The breakout ended? I know. I'm always like that. You can never give me enough time in the breakout, but I hope that it gave you a chance to talk with your colleagues and share how this resource can be utilized. I was sharing in this room that I wish I had had this resource when I was a classroom teacher, because I always felt like parent-teacher conferences, there was a lot of responsibility on the teacher, right? Like it was my conference to run, but the name of the conference is parent-teacher conference, right? Or family-teacher conference, right? It shouldn't just be on the teacher to put in all of the work and effort in. It's both of us coming together. So I love this resource. I hope that it empowers our families. That's what this is about, empowering our families so that we come together and make the best decisions for our students, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry that for my group, we got cut off. We were really engaged in a great conversation, but we were just talking about how this tool can like how are the ways we can use this tool with District 75 parents. And I was just mentioning that we actually use the tool. So for those who were in my room, I used the tool and just asking the questions to the student, and then the parent was really, actually the grandmother was really surprised that the student actually was communicating their likes and their dislike and what they like their favorite subject at the school level. Anyway, welcome back everybody.
Welcome back. Can you hear me okay? I think I lost my audio.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
thank you all
sound great.
so much. And I know we're running a little short on time, but I think some groups did this differently, and that's okay. I think some folks were talking and jotting down, and others were just sort of internalizing it or are making their own notes. So hopefully you can see this. I think this is from group 1 who had a ton of ideas. And Dara, I think you were sharing some of yours as I was joined around. I'll just want to call out, I love this, what it says, flexibility around different ways of engagement. Let's double click on that. Like these resources are meant to be used how you know your family's best, right? Like if going through all of it, the parent-teacher planning tool might be too much, then just really conveying the main things, preparing for the questions that they want to ask, making sure they get that time in, and then following up, right? For some parents, they might want to dig in, they might want to take notes, right? This is something really concrete that can support them in that. I don't think we have time for everyone to share out, but if there's 1 or 2 people that want to share any big ideas, either on how to use these resources or other big ideas, again, like the podcast idea or something, would love to get folks, here's some ideas. Trying to see if, Laura, if folks can unmute. We have time for like 1 or 2.
Absolutely. This isn't a shy group, but I see Cheryl raising her hand. Cheryl, go ahead.
Hi. So we had some great ideas. One I really liked was that we need to include the teachers in this so that when we're sharing this with parents, the teachers know what to expect. And also the teachers actually could take this letter and make it a part of their opening month of, getting to know the families better. So it works, hand in hand. That collaboration is great. I said I would do a workshop the week before parent teacher conferences, a team up workshop with all of this information. Others said they would, put it in an email, digital email that they have weekly emails and updates every week. So yeah, we had a lot of great ideas.
I love that. Yeah, you guys are such trusted messengers between the teachers and parents. So absolutely, this is very much about engaging that teacher who often has so much of this like benchmark data and information that sometimes doesn't trickle down to parents. Anybody else want to share? All right.
Hello?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I spoke about flexibility around different ways of engagement. I think that's very important because for many families, like immigrant families, often people don't know that, it's not just one day of family engagement. So schools, or we need to explain better to these families that if you don't have, you have to work and you don't have time for during the day of the parent conference, you can still, you are still able to engage with the school in other days. You can do it remotely. You don't have to be there in person. I think we need to promote that to give more access to people who are like undocumented families who have to work several jobs to survive. I think that message have to go out there and explain it to these people. Yes, you can still, you don't have to come to the school building, but you can still be engaged and we can be flexible with you. I think that I want to highlight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. My parents worked 2 and 3 jobs at points. My dad worked nights my entire life. We only had dinner together on the weekends. They, were not around for parent teacher conferences at night. But education was a priority. There are other ways, right? Especially now with the virtual communication. So you all making sure that teachers know, right? That just because a parent doesn't come does not mean that they don't care. And so thank you for pointing that. Couldn't agree with you more. So I think we're about at time. We will share again. I'll before we head out, I will share that NYC page. Really invite your feedback, your thoughts. I think we have some closing polls. It's always really helpful for us to gauge like how relevant this was and how you're feeling about it. So Laura, I don't know if we can post the polls, but the first question is, and please be honest here, how relevant was today's content and session? Extremely relevant, very relevant, sort of neutral, Friday, we're not sure, slightly relevant, really want your.
Wendy, I'm starting to see it was very relevant. That's exciting. And it's so true. This is the season that we're welcoming our families back. I love the theme of teaming up. I think that should be our theme, right? Ready to team up together, because it's a partnership between everyone, and everyone is a part of this family engagement team. I love how you said, how do we remove the barriers so that we can bring in the voices, right? So I'm gonna actually use that. Let's bring in our families' voices to all our spaces, and especially in the classroom. But yeah, that very relevant.
Yes, and please do share your ideas, for folks where it was sort of neutral or slightly relevant, like what else are you hearing and seeing that would be helpful to you? I know this is a tough year. We're bouncing back. Parents have a lot going on. Teachers have a lot going on. So, that's why we love the relationship with you all. So Laura, I don't know if you want to close this one and maybe just do the last poll. Want to just get a gauge on how you all are feeling about using these resources. Again, parent-teacher conferences are coming up. So hopefully this is good timing.
And as everyone is taking the poll, I just want to mention that FACE is doing a workshop a digital workshop next week where we're going to talk about best practices on how to build trusted relationships. I'm going to put it in the chat while you take the poll. And then please share it wide. FLCs, FSCs who's here, share it with your districts. So it's all about building trust. And it's next week, October 26th, by the FACE team. FACE is the parent mentorship team. It's a brand new team at FACE, supporting the work of parent coordinators and just making sure that we're doing outreach to all families.
Thank you, Derry. So while folks are just finishing up that final poll, I know some questions have come in about attendance. We are going to drop the link. You're going to see Latifa drop it in just a moment. So please make sure you fill that out, but I know some folks have to drop off. So it is a Google form. Today's session is preparing for parent-teacher conferences. So let me just actually end this and then share my screen so that you can see for folks who have not filled this out yet, or if it's your first time here. So this is our Google attendance form. You'll fill out all this pertinent email information here, your email, your name, all that good stuff. And then when you scroll down here, you'll pick today's date, easy enough, 10 a.m. And we do put these in alphabetical order. So it's the 1P session. There you go, preparing for parent-teacher conferences. You'll get 75 minutes of credit for this. Once you've filled out all of it, you'll be able to hit submit, and then you will get an email after today's session with a survey. And if you need CTLE, you'll be able to request it as well. All right. So this is the name of the session, Preparing for Parent-Teacher Conferences. As long as you fill that out, you are good to go. I know some folks do have to drop off. You've got meetings, you've got things happening at the school level. Don't worry. No need to explain. We get you. But please, please, please mark your calendars. There are some really great opportunities ahead, not just what Derry shared. Remember, we also have our Beyond Access Forum happening on November 8th. Please share that link out far and wide. That is for everybody to come. That is our citywide PD day. And we've got some really great sessions. Wendy is back for that. She's going to expand on this topic and really talk about how to make the most of our teamwork. I'm going to stop saying partnership because apparently that's not an effective keyword, right? So she's going to talk about building that team with your families so that you are as effective as possible. So that's November 8th. Then remember, November 18th, we got the folks from Adobe. You're going to want to come back. And, I think if we can kind of merge all of this stuff, we're talking about how to make the most of these partnerships. Part of that also is like coming up with some really catchy and flashy messaging, right? We know that, you could send things in an email and it's all text-based, and that's great. But the minute you make it a flyer, you add a little, pizzazz to it. Yeah, color, like all of a sudden it's like, ooh, wait, what's this? It's catchy. So, we need to utilize these 21st century tools so that we are reaching our families in meaningful ways, because the tools from Adobe and the things you create, they can be shared on social media. Remember, we've talked about that. They can be shared on your school website. So it's definitely great. Yusuf, you're asking about how do we sign up? There's no sign up for our FACE Friday meetings. I wasn't kidding when I was like, yo, put it on the bathroom wall. Like, we really want you to just show up. So what we do is there is a calendar invite that we created in our parent coordinator team. I sent that calendar out far and wide to the team. We will promote it. I will try and remember before like 20 minutes prior, but we'll promote it in our PC team. But that is how you attend our FACE Friday sessions. What you can sign up for in between is our PD on the EdTech portal. And actually, since we have a couple moments, I'll show you right now, and I can pop this link into the chat. 1 second here, but this is our citywide PD. If you are a DOE employee, you just log in with your DOE credentials. and you can see what PD is available. So this is
the last things you said.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I think that we got someone who unmuted themselves by accident.
Oh, okay.
Laura, like
so
you mentioned, like this calendar right
I
here.
lost your voice.
It looks like we still have see, for those who are looking at Laura's calendar, I know a lot of times I get emails like, hey, what are some other PDs that are happening? I love this. I actually look at it all the time, guys, because this helps me if I'm thinking about how to use either, I just need more information on these enterprise tools. I can always come in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is amazing.
So you can see here are those citywide office hours that are happening next week. And then someone asked about is there Adobe training? Look, there's a creativity for all Adobe and the MIC DOE also happening next Wednesday from 4 to 5:30. So there are a lot of PDs on here. You'll see that we partner with a lot of our enterprise technology companies. So if we purchased an enterprise license, you better believe we're going to have PD in this portal because we know that you need support. So again, this is available to all. I'm going to after today's session, I'll post a lot of these links in our PC team as just kind of a wrap up to today's meeting, because I see a lot of folks kind of, writing in the chat, email me, do that. We don't email. I would love to, but this is quite a large group and I don't, so everything will be in the PC team. That is where we will share information. And yeah, we got cool stuff. I see someone going, wait, there's NFT teacher. Yes, there is. I'm telling you, we have a lot of great topics from like the kind of what I call 101 basic kind of stuff, all the way up to like folks who are ready to like dive into the world of NFTs, right? So really, really cool stuff happening here. Definitely bookmark this, check it out, because this is where to get support. And it's not just DIIT that posts a lot of things here. A lot of our various offices and divisions will post their PD offerings here. So please, like I said, keep this kind of bookmarked and share this out with your teachers, share this out with your staff, because there is something for everybody on this portal. There's some really great PD happening.
And Laura, I think I want to give everyone a challenge right now.
Ooh.
So yeah, here it is, November 8th, because I know that November 8th is going to be amazing. How about this? How about the challenges? You bring 2 staff members with you, 2 of your colleagues, 2. Could be if you go into Wendy's session, bring your teacher. Oh my gosh. But there's so many that is happening. So I'm going to challenge everyone to bring at least 2 new colleagues to the November 8th forum, because you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss. I'm telling you guys, they even have digital booth. So we have digital booth. It's very, very, very this is like a high level online conference and you do not want to miss it. So that's my challenge to everyone today, 2 new colleagues.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, it's okay if you have to log off. Again, we say 11:15 is around when the learning ends, then we keep some extra time for networking, sharing more kind of tidbits. But as long as you have filled out our attendance form, you are welcome to drop off today's call. I just want to say thank you again for showing up. This is the most awesome community. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. And before the 18th, I hope I get to see you at some of this cool stuff that's happening. Remember, we got office hours next week. We got Derry and her really cool opportunity. I'm so excited. Also happening next Wednesday. There's a lot happening on Wednesday. And remember, November 8th, the Beyond Access Forum, which I hope to see all of you at. Bring your community, bring your teachers, bring your staff. It's going to be great. But thank you again. And folks, have a really wonderful rest of your Friday.
We want to say thank you, Wendy, again. Everybody help me thank Wendy in the chat. Oh my gosh, we got to thank Wendy again. She's such an amazing team member of all the PDs that we're doing. And just a shout out to Wendy once again for always giving us an extra perspective on how we are teaming up with our families this school year. So thank you, Wendy. Please show us some love in the chat, and can't wait for those office hours on Wednesday. I'll be there because I'm always thinking about, well, actually, I learned from the office hours and how to help our PCs to help their families with the tablets, because I know that's a big question
Yeah.
still. So thank you guys.
Gary,
Thank you.
I learn at those office hours.
I
I show
do.
up, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, that's how you do that? Oh, okay.
Not gonna lie, this is me
Right?
during the office hours. Okay. Always learning, always growing. Bye, everybody. Happy, fantastic Friday.